And welcome back to the WHHI Daily News. I'm so excited to introduce all of you to Brad.Zervas. Brad is a very interesting individual, been involved with young people for many, many years, and has actually in the fall of 2022 went to the Community Foundation of Lowcountry and the United Way to talk about the state of our boys. And kind of create this community collaboration. So what was your impetus? What was that all about, Brad?
So a lot of it had to do with, just the fact that and I'll try to be as brief as possible, but, I started my career after my basketball career. I ended up working in a maximum security facility, right, and working with a lot of guys that were my age, and your next guest and I had a conversation, and I said, if not for the God, there go I. Because I wasn't, the best behaved human being, right, as a teenager. But anyways, so working with young people at that juncture, it spanned nearly 40-year career. Ran the Boys Club in New York, which is the largest boys club in the country. Came down here to quote unquote retire. Met Scott Wehrman and Dale Douthit at United Way, and we got to talking about the state of boys. Right. And your next guest will be able to tell you that the vast majority of school suspensions, expulsions, referrals have to do with boys. It's across the board. And then the vast majority of young people that are incarcerated and mired in the juvenile justice system are boys. Right. And so how do we deal with that? How do we address this? So I don't think my work with this coalition, and we brought together almost 80 organizations. Yes. That have sat at the table with us. Not all 80 at a time, but we've had 25, 30 at a time trying to help us. Clergy, educators, law enforcement, the whole thing, right, the whole 9 yards. And you are going to hopefully put together this pilot called 120. You're going to take 20 boys from 2 middle schools, hopefully next year, and follow them for 3 years. Right. So we have about a minute and a half left. Do you want to kind of talk about this idea? Yeah. So the idea is to start with 20 in each school, and then add 20 subsequently each year, right, so that we will ultimately, when we're fully enrolled, get to 120 strong. Right. Right. Is what we're calling it. And then at the end of the day, we'll see what we'll do. We've got metrics, we've got benchmarks. I think we're being pretty smart about it all. I think that we got to have parents with skin in the game. They're going to have to pay a little bit. We're not saying a lot. $25 a student, to get them through this process. And the one thing some people will say, and I'll be quick, some people say that middle school is a hard place to start, right? Some people say start as early as possible, and I don't disagree with that. But middle school, that's when boys are searching for identity. They're boys that are challenging authority. They're boys that are working for their place in the constellation of boys, and it's not easy. And so our idea is to gather groups of boys that are not all the same, heterogeneous grouping of boys, boys that are failing, boys that are in the middle track, boys that are succeeding, and then to have them all collaborate together. Very good. And I think that's important, and I think they all have something to learn from one another. Well, thank you so much for your work, and there's actually a meeting that's going to be happening on Wednesday with this group, and I'm going to be attending with a good friend of mine, Andy Broughton, who is our next guest, because it is far easier to mend a troubled boy than it is to fix a broken man. Yeah, there's no doubt. Right? So thank you so much, Brad, for everything that you're doing. Absolutely. You're not retired, I'm trying. I know I'm not retired either. I'm trying. Thank you so much. Yeah, no worries at all. And coming up after the break will be Andy Broughton, just retired from Department of Juvenile Justice, and his take on the state of our boys and a group that he started called the Messengers. Stay with us.